Joining us now to break down the motivations this time around is Representative Mo Brooks, the congressman from Alabama's 5th District, who's set to voice his objections to the Electoral College vote this Wednesday. So, Congressman, you were actually one of the first, if not the first, to bring up this prospect. At the time, it was a little bit different. A lot of people were saying that it wasn't something that was going to come to fruition, but here we are. Since then, many more congresspeople have come on, senators as well, and you'll get your chance to make an argument on Wednesday. What will that entail?
Well, first and foremost, I have to help the people of America understand that this is the proper function and duty of the United States Congress pursuant to the United States Constitution and federal statutes. After we've gotten that behind us, then next we have to go into the evidence that, in my judgment, is overwhelming, that there was voter fraud and election theft activities on a level unparalleled in American history, where the Socialist Democrats have outright sought to steal and perhaps have stolen the White House from the American people through the casting of millions upon millions of illegal ballots. So we've got to get the message to the people. Most importantly, though, we need to get the Senate to be a little bit stronger. Right now, I'm confident that we will have a strong vote amongst Republicans in the House of Representatives. I lack that confidence that we'll see that similar kind of fight in the United States Senate in favor of protecting the underpinnings of any republic, which is an honest and accurate election system.
And it is a little bit ironic because Republicans, of course, do have control of the upper chamber, where they don't have that same control of the lower chamber. So you would think that would be a place where they would exercise that power more so. But we have heard over the past 24 hours, such as Senator Tom Cotton, for example, saying that he will not object to the Electoral College vote in the same way. So what is your message for Republicans who may fear, perhaps, or have some reservations about doing this, saying that it may be a bad precedent to set for future elections?
Please do your homework. Please don't rely on others like staffers or lobbyists to spoon feed you information on that. In the House, we began our investigation back in early November. Quite frankly, I believe that the Senate is about a month behind us in our investigative efforts in the House, and that is why there's such a huge disparity in the support for objecting to the states with tainted election systems. We have tremendous support in the House, but much less so in the Senate, because the Senate, in my judgment, for whatever reason, hasn't done the homework that is necessary to where the light bulb goes off in the minds of the senators. Hey, this is real. This is serious. There is massive voter fraud and election theft, unlike anything we've seen in the history of the United States of America. The evidence is overwhelming, and it is compelling. I hope that we will be able to debate at least 6 states on the House floor and on the Senate floor. Those would be Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. On the House side, we easily have 30 or 40 or 50 sponsors for each of those objections. But on the Senate side, it seems that right now we have one senator, Josh Hawley of Missouri, one state, Pennsylvania. So we need the American people to express to their senators that they expect those senators to stand up and fight for our country, fight for our election system by co-sponsoring these objections on the House floor when we have that joint session of Congress on Wednesday, so that we can have that spirited debate before the American people about the systemic flaws in our election system that the Socialist Democrats so badly exploited this election cycle to steal the White House from the American people.
And I'm glad you mentioned do your homework, because, for example, when you turn on a lot of networks, they'll say that this is an unprecedented thing that's being done in the halls of Congress, but it's not. This has been done several times before in Congress. We just showed a clip from 2005, an NBC package, where they were talking about Democrats doing the very exact same thing, and their motivation to do so was to make sure that there was reforms made for future elections. So when we talk about the motivations coming around this time, is it the same thing to make sure that future elections do have integrity and to make sure that there's an election commission of sorts kind of implemented to make sure that they can look into that? Is that really the underlying motivation here?
Well, there are lots of goals behind the effort that we've undertaken, but number one has to be to restore confidence in America's election system by making sure that our elections are honest and accurate. By way of example, we should not allow, under any circumstance, illegal aliens and non-citizens to vote at the levels that they voted in November of 2020. In my judgment, probably in the range of 1 to 3 million non-citizens voting in our election. Non-citizens foreign interference in our elections, we should stop that. We should be in agreement to stop that. But unfortunately, the Socialist Democrats are promoting that. We need to have photo identification to ensure that the person who says they're voting Jane Smith or Joe Smith is in fact Jane Smith or Joe Smith, that it's not someone who's stealing someone else's vote. And we need to make sure that we abide by the Commission on Federal Elections recommendations of 2005, a commission that was co-chaired by Democrat Jimmy Carter, in which he identified absentee ballots and mailed-in ballots as the #1 primary problem source for voter fraud. So we need to be minimizing absentee and mail-out ballots, not maximizing it as the Socialist Democrats this time. Those three problems, if we can solve them, then that will go a long ways towards restoring integrity to America's election system. But in the meantime, the vote on Wednesday is real clear. You as a Republican, are you going to vote to support election fraud? Are you going to acquiesce to election fraud? Or are you going to fight election fraud? Are you going to fight for our republic and the election system that underpins it? I encourage every single Republican senator and House member to get their big boots on and to fight for America by fighting for our election system, by voting no against these states whose election systems are so badly tainted as to render their reported results unworthy of America's trust.
And of course, you and your colleagues are going to make these very arguments on the floor this upcoming Wednesday. It's going to be interesting to hear those who don't make the same arguments, or in fact, maybe even take the opposing view. It's going to be interesting to hear how they respond to something like that, because as we said, 70% of Republicans do not have faith in the accuracy of the last election. And that's a problematic figure, not only if you're a Republican, but if you're a participant in this democratic republic. So I think that answers are going to be demanded from those people. But Representative Mo Brooks, I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight and previewing that event. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.